I am Pat Nash. Wow, I get to come and talk to the family. I don't want to talk about me. I love love. And you start loving on you. There is nothing selfish about loving you. If you spell out the word you, Y-O-U, look at yourself and tell yourself, I owe you. My mission is to tell women, love you. I don't think we're afraid of our shortcomings. I think we're afraid to find out that we are powerful beyond measure. When you move the wrong people out of your life, I promise you the right ones will show up. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Why owe you? Love on you. That's it. We're live. Happy Sunday night, you all. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, and thank you for joining in Pat Nash Talk. So, I am really excited. I have a special guest tonight. I'm going to introduce him to you as he pops on. But we actually are going to talk about love and how love heals. So, I'm going to tell you how this subject came about. There was a video that someone sent. What I really love is how a video can spark interest and spark conversation. So we wanted to talk about hurts that you have, the power of love to heal. Love hurts, but what love can do for those hurts. So joining me tonight is Brother Enoch. I'm so excited, coming out of St. Louis. Look, by way of Atlanta, most people know him from Atlanta. So, brother, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do, or your passion, what drives you? I'm trying not to tell too much without letting you introduce yourself. Which is how I do it.
I don't know if I can get all in an hour, but wow, I don't know where to start. I'm going to start where it counts, which is my current present situation right in this moment today. I am a single dad. Okay. And I'm a father of three. My older girls are grown ups and off doing their thing, and I'm happy
Yes.
about that. And in the meantime, uh, I'm an AV tech, working part time, but more importantly, my passion, as you spoke of, is
Yes.
healing. Is healing, and all the ways that it comes forth. I heal via several different modalities and art forms. First and foremost, I'm a Reiki master since the year 2007 was when I got my first attunements, and then master level attunements in 2008. And I really feel like I actually mastered the art form in about 2010 through
Yes.
um, various self-healing exercises and working on others. I'm also a sound healer, and so as such, I use healing frequencies in my original recordings as a musician and producer. But yeah, so as a sound healer, and then most recently, I actually acquired a set of crystal singing bowls and tuning forks. And so I am now doing a combination of Reiki plus the sound healing. And I offer this service called Heart Tunement, where we just get you all the way aligned with your better, highest self, using all of those things, being led by the spirit most of the way. And, just listening to the client the other part of the way, and seeing what it is that they need. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, trying to live in my purpose. Passion is sometimes people
It's
mistake
incredible, isn't
passion.
it? Like
Yeah.
you do jobs, but then when you start to step into your passion, the
Hmm.
love for
Hmm.
what you do and the service you provide just kind of takes over. So tonight, you guys, I wanted to talk about the healing power of love, right? Healing and can come in so many different forms. I said that when I got started. It can come in the love of a person. A person's love can start to heal you from maybe past traumas and hurt. Music is a big one. It's probably the oldest age of healing, actually, music and sound.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't understand why we might hear a song and it just resonates with us and it hits us right here and we feel good or we feel some kind of way when it plays. I
Hmm.
think all of that comes into the natural ability for love or whatever to cause. I don't even know how to put it into words, that starts a healing process in you. Because sometimes, depending on what you're hurt from and how bad you're hurt, it takes time. And some
Hmm.
people will say, just get over it or get under someone else to get over someone else. That does not. That's not good
No,
advice.
no,
It's
that
not,
that definitely doesn't.
it
That's a
definitely does
recipe for
not work.
disaster, and I can say that from experience.
Right. And if you think about it, it's not even
Mhm,
fair to that other person that you're
mhm.
connecting with out of trauma and hurt. Share with me how sound heals, or the science behind, the spiritualness behind the sound, because I know a person or people in your life, the right people can bring healing to places that you didn't have before. So it's so important to align yourself with the right people. But
Mhm,
if you wanted to use sound, like I know certain sounds or certain music make me feel a certain way. I
mhm.
don't know what is the science behind that, or the philosophy behind music healing. Because I mean, I know biblical songs or biblical stories to where they hired people to come in to play music to calm them down or to bring a certain feeling to them. So what is, I mean, is that something you could say in a few short words, or kind of help people
No,
to
not
understand?
not in a few short words. No, no. There's no
Oh, that's a
easy
whole nother
way to say
show.
it.
That's a
but
whole
but
nother
but
show.
what I like to say first is to just echo the idea of self love, because
Yes,
without it, you can't actually effectively love someone else or
exactly.
anything else.
Exactly.
So so as a foundation, self-love must come first. And not all of us were instilled with the idea of self-love from
No,
our inception as little people.
nope.
Okay. So I have the saying, and it's a long road back to some place that you've never.
Whew.
Now let that sit in. And what I
I
mean
know.
is,
I know.
what I mean is, again, without
I
without
felt that.
knowing,
I felt
without
that.
even knowing that you don't love yourself, you can't begin the work that's necessary to get through that process and get into a place of wholeness to love others effectively. So, sound, love, are a vibration. Love is a vibration. It's a
Mhm.
feeling. It's not
It
something
is
you can try to describe it in a way of a definition, for the
something
dictionary,
abstract, but it's a
but
feeling.
you only
It is
know it.
something.
You only know it when you feel it and when it's
Mhm,
being exchanged. And so,
mhm,
sound is the same thing. You know sound feels a certain way to you, no matter what genre or type of music it is that you listen to or indulge in. Okay,
mhm,
and so
mhm.
everything that is in existence is a vibration and an energy and a sound. So that,
Yes.
to summarize it, if I had to summarize it in a few sentences, sound is a vibration, and that vibration, the frequencies that we emit as people and through musical instruments and whatnot, they all resonate at different frequencies or cycles per second that produce a different effect inside of us. And so, one frequency may attune your lower chakras, whereas another frequency, goes for the ones that are coming up and up and up and up, and each of them do certain things in order to get you to certain places. Just like what you were saying with your relationships, you get to meet all these different people that have purpose in your life, and
Mhm.
they provide something for you that makes you the complete you that you are. You know what I mean? So
It's true.
that that's that's
It's true.
how sound works. I mean, it's I can get way scientific with it, but that's not necessary for this conversation.
No, that was a good definition, and you brought it into what we understand: music, or
Mm-hmm,
sounds, or
mm-hmm,
love, a feeling. I've heard people
mm-hmm.
say, "I just didn't get a good vibe from that person." I just That is what we're talking about. You
That's the
can
way they made you
feel a
feel
person's
when you exactly.
yes. You can
Exactly.
feel a
And so and,
person's
and
energy.
some people's voices, do certain things to you. They
Yes.
may, some people's voices may be shrill to you, and it's like, I can't
Yes.
take it. And then some people's voices are more soothing, and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah,
talk to me.
some people's
I can't wait to
voices you'd
talk
be
to you.
like, "Okay, just talk to me. Just talk. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what you
Mm-hmm.
say. Just read something. It feels good to me." So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna point out something I heard earlier today. One of my colleagues, I think it was Kim, that said she can tell when an artist loves their music because when they sing, you can feel almost like shivers, like when they're really into it and it's something that they feel deep inside. they're able to transfer that feeling to you, and it
Hmm.
makes you feel like, oof, like I just felt that. And you'll hear people say it and they don't understand what they're saying. Man, I felt that. Or when someone says, that hurt me, and they're explaining how they felt, that vibration is transferred. So love is similar. If you're in I would say in that vibration or in that feeling of love, which is why, y'all, it's so important every day to wake up in gratitude. I don't care what is going on around you. Say it out loud. I am so
Hmm.
thankful, grateful that this is the day or whatever, that I am up, I'm moving, I am in my right mind. I'm not even giving energy or conversation to the sinus headache. I'm just I'm just grateful to be aware of where I am and to be excited for the day. Staying in a thankful and grateful mode and quickly forgiving people and sending love their way keeps you
Yes.
in a loving vibration, and you will attract what you give out. It's a I can't even explain it, but when you're walking in it, it feels good and people
Hmm.
can see it and they can feel it. Like I had to transfer. What is Bert saying? He's saying studies have shown that certain notes and sounds have a calming feeling. Supposedly, when Andre 3000 did his flute album, most of the notes on the album have a calming feeling. Hmm, I didn't know that. So, which is going to what this brother is saying, their music and sound can actually heal, and it can speak to a certain part of what you're dealing with. So I guess that's kind of what you do in
That's correct.
your profession, and you figure out and you tune in to what that
Hmm.
person is feeling, and you transfer some the healing vibration that they need. Kimberly said, even if you can't express any emotion yourself, music can do it for you. And saying they understand completely what you're saying because it heals. And that was not even the direction I was going. It really was, because I was going to talk about love healing. And I always say, when you move people out of the space that they're not supposed to be in your life, it
Hmm.
opens up that space or that line where someone who can step in, who could be that person that would institute healing for you, be in the same love vibration that you're in. When you know someone is not in that for you, you
Hmm.
have the responsibility, as you love yourself, to move that person out of the way so that you can make room for your healing. You know how you want to look at two people and go, what are they doing? Why don't they get rid of each other? They'd probably be happier. You can't
Yeah,
do it for them, though. They have to do it themselves. I
that's correct.
say, I started saying, if they can't see it, you can't show it to them because they don't see it. And it's frustrating sometimes. And then you have to move out of that and wait and allow them that space to heal and to be the person they need to be so they can see themselves, because that's the person they owe the dedication and growth and all of that. So share with us again, if you had to share with someone about loving yourself, how can you go into sharing with them the importance of that, or giving them reasons, or sharing them why? Because I say it all the time, but that's expected. So if you were just stepping into and telling people the importance of beginning to understand and some things they can do to start loving on themselves,
Oh
can
wow.
you?
Yeah. So I have met a lot of people, particularly single moms, that don't necessarily do anything besides be moms. Right. That's their role. That's the persona that they've settled
Very good.
into, and that is their lifestyle. And then when I ask them, well, what do you do for fun, or what do you do for yourself? A lot of times they don't come up with any answers. I think one of the ways we can love ourselves is by just being true to ourselves about the things that are important to us. Of course, our families are important to us, right? But
Right.
who were you before you became a mom? And who are you in addition to being a mom or a dad
That
or
part.
whatever the case may be? You know what I mean? And how do you show yourself that you love yourself? It was funny. Someone asked me once upon a time, "Do you love yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love myself." And they were like, "Well, how so?" And I was like, "I don't know." You know what I mean? But one of the ways I love on myself is I cook for myself. You know what I mean? Like I really love to cook, and so like I will get all the way into the moment of into the activity of cooking and preparing a meal and and plating it up really nice and pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was at a fine dining restaurant, if I'm alone, and even if I'm eating out or whatever, I demand a certain type of quality and presentation for my
Yes.
experience. You know what I mean? Because it's like if it's trash and I can't do it. If it's not, if I
Can't
can't
do
tell
it.
that food is being made with love, I can't do it. You know what I mean? So I only ingest things that are prepared with love by myself and by others. You
I
know.
love that. I love that. It's like it's not worth your calories, right? I'm not
Mm-hmm,
eating it.
Not the
I can
calories.
tell
I
that's
don't
what it
count
made with
calories.
love. So
And
I like
then
that
maybe
idea.
hobbies. And what
Yeah,
are your
go ahead.
hobbies? Like again, what did you do before you became a parent, or what did you do when you
Yeah.
weren't just working a job that you were working? And like what is it that really makes you tick on the inside? And do you honor that part of yourself? And do you like I said, I recently I started painting, but that was me getting back into my visual art itself. Like I've
Yeah.
been doing this sound art and the healing art with the Reiki and whatnot. But then I love visual art. I worked at the High Museum of Art. I literally love visual art in all of its forms, sculpture to painting to photography to whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, performance art, etc. Another way that one can love on oneself is forgiving oneself for having made mistakes, or having potentially walk down some corridor that you didn't really know where you were going, and you
Mhm.
can beat yourself up about it, or you can say, okay, this comes with the territory of growing and learning, and just going back and loving on parts of yourself where you didn't honor yourself, in times that you needed it most. So
Yeah.
that you know what I
Now you
mean.
did 3 very powerful things to love
Hmm.
yourself, because people think, well, I bathe myself, I take my medicine, I work out, but it's so much deeper than that. Like you said, exploring who was I before, as Mary said, you do so much for other people, you don't even know what you want. You haven't even
Hmm.
explored what you want as an
Hmm.
individual before you became mom, wife, sister, friend. You didn't, you know what I'm saying, brother,
Hmm.
cousin,
Hmm.
before you became that person that other people were pulling on. Who were
Hmm.
you? What did you do? And owe it
Hmm.
to yourself to explore. So
Hmm.
I have you given some great advice. So I'm going to go back and take notes, because I'll be sharing that. And some of them
Okay.
I shared in my book, actually, about things you can do to love on yourself. But tell me about relationships, business relationships, friends. When you start to love yourself and being so focused in your passion, how do you leave room for that? New relationships, kind of what do you do to vet those relationships before you let them in? And I'm
Hmm.
not necessarily trying to get in your business as a single
No, no, no,
man.
no, no. It's fine.
I'm
It's
just
fine.
saying, as I don't care, business partner relationships, this is a person I hang out with, any relationship. How do you choose that carefully, staying in this vein of love and making sure you're staying in a good healing place?
Wow, that's a
Can
great
you give
question.
us?
I do. You have to understand the power of the word no. And sometimes that means no, I don't want to talk to you, whomever you might be, family member, friend, colleague, whatever the case may be, because
You've
you
been
you
reading my
you
mail.
because
Yes.
because you know what I mean. You need to stay in that space, and some of us, some of our family,
Woo.
friends, etc., they might drag you into some place you don't really want to be, and so you have to honor your own personal core stability, and you have to say yes to the right opportunities, no matter what those opportunities may be.
No
Um,
matter what title is
and and
attached
and
to
and just
us.
over time you become
Yeah.
more discerning. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
remember, you can meet new people that remind you of other people that you've met some other time in your life, and you're like, I don't think I'm gonna do this with you because
Oh my God, I had
yeah.
to do that recently. I
Hmm.
really did, because I'm such a inclusive person, come here, let me hug you. How can I help you? You start listening to some people and it's like, And
Yeah.
you said something very important. How did you say that? You have to make sure, you didn't say boundaries. You said you have to make sure. I'm gonna have to go back and read that
No,
again,
but that's
because
but that's that's the concept. Yeah, your personal boundaries. I don't use that
yeah,
particular
you said
vernacular,
I have
but
to make sure that is clear. I'm not
hmm
cluttering that up. Um,
hmm
Bishop Bronner said something a couple of weeks ago. He said, as far as letting people back in your life that maybe you have pushed aside because it wasn't good, and you see them again and you love them, and you think, okay, maybe they've grown. Maybe I should consider connecting again. And he said, always remember, before you take offense down, remember why you built it.
You put it up in the first place. Look, yes, you better. Because if not, you're gonna have to learn again the hard way, and that actually, as we've been talking about all this, it makes me think of patterns. You were talking about people being unequally yoked in relationships, and sometimes
Yes,
people
yes.
repeat the relationship over and over and over. They just a new person, but it's the same type of person, or they have the same type of misunderstandings with that next person. But that was because they didn't honor themselves and understand what their pattern or what their problem was, or what their problem was with this person. So you can look at a person and be like, okay, this person is not good for me, but why? And what is not good for you about you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, own whatever it is about you
Yes.
that isn't working too. You know what I mean? Because none of us are perfect, even though we like to think we're all
No,
perfect. And whomever that
no.
was that didn't work out for us, they were the ones that were all, whatever they were. But it's not necessarily so. It takes two to tango, and two to make a relationship or break it sometimes. So
Yeah. Man,
yeah.
you have such wisdom when it comes to this stuff, because I'm throwing this question out, and then you're bringing points that maybe would not have been brought about, saying no, how just the power of no. I think
Hmm.
Oprah did a whole speech on that. And she said when she tried it, she was such a yes person and she was miserable. But the
Hmm.
power of no, of
Hmm.
and that's a complete sentence.
Hmm.
And you really, why do we feel like we have to explain? It's like, no. I mean, I still say I'm sorry. I had to come up with another thing, but it's like,
Hmm.
no, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to do that. I wish I
Hmm.
could, but I can't. And
Hmm.
I don't have to do all of that. Probably have just said, no, not right now, or at this time, it's not for me. Thank you for thinking of me, but no. And I don't know why I feel like I have to explain why it's no. But there is such a power in that, that the more you do it, I think the more you get accustomed to it and you realize all hell didn't break loose. I'm still speaking to the right people because I said
Hmm.
no,
Hmm.
and that's enough.
Yeah.
So
It's
thank
plenty.
you for that. Mary said no helped her get her peace back,
Hmm.
because people who are constantly trying to people please will find out there's not only no room left for them, but a lot of times you're not even doing it right because you're not doing it from a heart that is pure. You're doing it
That's
because
correct.
someone asked you to, not
That's
because that's
correct.
what you should be.
That's correct.
And it
That's
doesn't
correct.
show
And
up.
you may not even be as pleasing as you think you are by having said yes to something that you really wanted to say no to. Don't do
Exactly.
anything
You're not doing
begrudgingly.
it. I
Don't
think
do
Todd
anything
said,
begrudgingly.
but I'm going to work on that. And then someone says, stop saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Positive side of that is, thank you. No, thank you. No, not no, I'm sorry because. No, thank you for thinking of me. Or if you're running late, I'm sorry for being late. No, thank
Hmm.
you all for waiting on. Thank you for waiting on me. Traffic was
Hmm.
horrible. It was an accident. Thank you. Not always,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We don't realize what words do to keep us in a harmful place.
Hmm.
And so even just changing words is a way to love yourself and
That's correct.
forgive you. You said that, and it is so important. I put that in the book. Give yourself the same slack that you would give someone else. We'll make it all kinds of excuses for our kids, our
Hmm.
mom, our,
Hmm.
our best friend, but we don't make those excuses for us. We are really hard on ourselves sometimes.
We're on
I don't know.
our own worst critics most of the time.
Yes, I've heard that too.
Mhm.
So, in your years on this earth, if there was one person that you would, I guess, point at that caused you to see yourself as this powerful healing person that you are, would you put it on a person or would you put it on an event in your life?
Wow. I would put it on an event for me to truly see
Mhm.
what the magnitude of my gift and power was. This is something, and I'm glad you set me up for this, because I think when we spoke briefly last week, I was thinking that the fact that I wanted to cover this with you, the moment I had a rude awakening inside of a DJ gig.
Hmm.
And when it happened to me, for me, what I realized was that I was using my gift of being able to mix and play music and entertain people
Right.
to play all the wrong music. I was playing the current hip hop artists of the day, and I will tell you the year. It was 2009 going into 2010, a New Year's Eve party that I was doing. And I won't mention the artists' names, but they're still pretty relevant to this day. The Midnight song that I played as requested by the host of the party was one that was extremely misogynistic.
Mm.
And I told you that I have two grown daughters, right?
Right.
And I was thinking, I wouldn't want anybody that talks like this to be around my grown daughters. You can't
Mm-mm.
date my daughters. You can't take them out. You can't do any of that. You know what I mean? And I was just like, this is bad. I knew it was bad because everybody knew the words to the song but me. Now I'd heard the song and I didn't have the song or own the song prior to midnight. The host of the party came and brought me the song on CD and said, okay, this is what I want you to drop at midnight. So I'm like, okay, cute. I had the song queued up, ready to go, countdown to midnight, champagne toast. I dropped the song. The crowd goes wild. And this is typically a
Yes.
DJ's dream, to have the whole room rocking with you, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And but then when I actually heard what they were saying, I just was like, no, 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 this is all wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, what have you done? You know, and I really just wanted to just cut the music and walk out in that
Wow.
moment, but I still had 2 hours to go, you know. And then I played another song not very shortly afterwards. Um, and it was talking about selling drugs in the Black community and
Wow.
how this person got their come up from having done that, and then they flipped it into music, you know, but they still glorify that thing, which I know killed lots of communities and destroyed
Yes.
lots of
Yes.
people,
Lots of
family,
lies.
friends, yeah, lots of lives, you know, in its wake. And and I was utterly disgusted with myself. But again, I'm playing the hit records and I play them well. I can mix and scratch and, you know, make them all sound good in one, you know, music DJ set. But I was playing all the wrong stuff, you know. And so what just basically became clear to me was that I was kind of being given new records from a certain huge music conglomerate and recording label owner.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to
Yes.
mention their
Yes.
names because
Yes. Without saying the
I'm
name.
actually it's gonna come online soon because I'm gonna do a whole art exhibition to commemorate that part of my life,
Okay.
and to show how they were literally flooding me with garbage records in order to pollute the ears in our communities of our people, you know. But like I said, when I had that awakening, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Like, and I
Yeah.
literally walked away from the industry at that time. I threw away. I was still using vinyl. I threw away all my records that talked about black on black crime,
Wow.
that talked
Wow.
about selling drugs, that talked about black
You
women. You know
became
what I mean, and
conscious.
degrading them. Like the
Yes.
real thing, you know, that the equivalent of that thing when people was like, you know, I'm saved now, I don't listen to no more secular music. Like I'm
Yes.
only
Yes.
it
Yes.
wasn't it wasn't to that degree, and it wasn't church related or whatever, but I made
It
a
was a
stance.
conviction. It was a personal, spiritual conviction. Yes.
I made a stance, and I was like, I'm never playing that stuff again. And the irony is, no one called me to play it again. Like the universe heard me and get the gigs anymore, and it was just fine. You know what I mean? But that
Everybody's
that
appreciating
was my
that.
moment. That was
Yeah.
my
Everybody's
moment in
appreciating that
understanding.
too.
Yeah, that was my moment
Yeah.
in understanding the power of my gift. And so from then on, I literally started injecting healing frequencies into my music, into the DJ spins, and then into the recordings as well. So so I'm doing it. I'm doing it on purpose to make the world a better place versus what I was doing before. You know.
I love
So
it. I love it. I can't even read all the comments. They're like, "Thank you for your
mhm.
transparency," and people are like, "You have to be careful what you listen to." Mary's saying that, and Mindy says, when she like a song on the radio, she go home and check the lyrics to
Mhm.
see, you know, because she don't like all the trash talk in a lot of these songs. So you have people that feel the same way you do, but they're
Mhm.
drawn in by the
Mhm.
sound, and then
It's
they start.
the beats, you know what I mean? The beats are infectious, you know, and they do that on purpose. And then it's a programming. It's literally programming. That's why they call radio programs programs, because it's
Yeah.
putting
It's
these things
programming.
into your psyche that
Yes.
eventually turn into your behavior, and
Yes.
killing our communities accordingly.
And that's
So
true.
yeah,
That is true. But
yeah.
people are saying, thank you for that transparency, and that they are doing the same thing. They're starting to listen. It's sad that people, Mary was saying, it's sad that people who push this music won't even let their children listen to it. But they're pushing that music out there. And then you see
Hmm.
little babies, 2, 3, 4 year old, that are dancing to it and singing the words. That's the
Yep.
scariness. They're singing these words. So
Hmm.
thank you, Brother Enoch. I'm telling you, I'm going to go
Thank
back and
you.
listen to this and write some stuff down. And somebody
Yeah.
said we'd love to have a part 2 with him.
I would love
So
to as well, because I feel like we just kind of skimmed the surface. You know what I mean? Like we just
I told you,
we
I was like, I told you, I said, brother, an hour's going to go real fast.
hmm
But the stuff that you gave us on the subject of love and healing and relationships is quality stuff. And thank goodness you guys, if you got in at the end, do the replay and then put in their replay and post your comments. So when we come back, tell us some things that you want us to explore a little bit more. Because like he said, we just skimmed the surface, but we're out
hmm
of time for tonight. So I'm telling you, he's going to come back, Mary. He already said it. Mary said, please come back.
I'd love to.
And you guys, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, text us at patnashllc@gmail and let us know you're interested in being a guest on the show. Or if you need me to come out and speak to your team, or if you want to get in touch with Enoch, send us an email and we'll get in touch with him for you. So we're going to come back. He promised us that. And with
Oh,
that
I
being
really do.
said, thank you, my brother. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
sharing
Thank you for having me. This was a
your
pleasure.
wisdom.
My pleasure.
I,
Yes,
I would
ma'am.
love to do it again.
Yes,
So
yes,
with
yes.
that being said, you all, I wish you love and light, peace and blessings as always. That's a wrap. Good night, you all. Hi, I'm Pat Nash, and I want to speak to you a little bit about dreams, about hope, about maybe giving up or wondering why you haven't moved forward. Someone asked me, how did you get here to be a relationship coach? It actually came out of a need for myself and what I observed looking around after I asked myself a couple of questions. Why was I not doing the things that I wanted to do? Why had I gone through divorce? I realized I was not the only one. You see, there's a lot of us who stopped hoping, who stopped dreaming, who stopped chasing our dreams or going after our dreams because we don't have to chase anything. When we look internally and figure out what it is that's holding us back, the sky's the limit, and you don't have to chase anything. You attract it.
And let's have a moment of clarity. There's freedom in your transparency. When you speak, you release, that's therapy. It's my decision to listen and do it carefully. Wanna live carefree? Well, it's gonna start. When secrets are kept, families are torn apart. I wanna do my part to help heal your heart. Shed some light on your life when your days are dark. Help ignite a spark that'll bring change. Be your shelter from the rain, assist with
Yo, here we go. Intro for my show. Nice day, hot like nitro. Cool as ice there. With that type of dichotomy, y'all know it's gotta be. Who else could it be but Rub your eyes, behold, it's only me. I'm the Dream Supreme DJ straight out of Queens. I'm a eclectic, the dopest selected. Emerging music break, it's on the DLT, yeah.
Well, Tony, I don't care. Long as you take me there. Someplace to ease my mind. This is recording artist Bertrand McKinney, aka Birdie, and you're listening to CHH Jams, where the bars come from the word. Y'all keep it locked.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. This is Orlando Presents right here on CHH Jam Presents. Make sure y'all tune in every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and check out our new show, CHH Jam Presents, right here on the Real Level Up. Let's go, y'all. Let's level up, level up. Let's get it. CHH Jam Presents.